Hello guys, I'm Shop came back once again. Can you start the video? The Shimabukuro Equation. Now some might say, what do you mean? What is the Shimabukuro Equation? What is this concept? And it's the reason why I keep harking on Sendo, not just being just annoying the jab and just keep going in and just the punches aren't doing anything to Ricardo Martinez. And the reason why this is such a problem because I got about 3 different scenarios, but it's mainly with Shimabukuro where it's hit homes the most with the Shimabukuro Equation. That's why I name it after him. And that is, after Shimabukuro knocked Ippo out of his Dempsey, had him stretched it across the rope, they both blew their gas tank. Going to the following round, Ippo went back to the basics. Like I told you, when you're tired and you're losing your mind, what do? You go back to the basics. Like when Takamura went blind, or with Ippo or many other characters, the one thing that you know is your training of doing the same thing over and over again and going back to the basics. This is why the basic fundamentals and Takamura, and the reason why the coach taught Takamura the jab, 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 because if anything else fails, the basics will overretrieve anything. So when you're tired and you can't remember nothing and your mind is lazy, the basics will always be there. The muscle memory will always be there. So with Shimabukuro, Ippo was throwing that 2 and pretty much a light 1-2. That's all he could really muster up since his gas tank was pretty much blown. But Shimabukuro was like, oh, these punches are not going to do nothing. The coaches, his coach is like, those punches are nothing. He's not doing anything serious. So just 1-2, 1-2. Ippo's still fighting back, but Shimabukuro is still landing to him, applying pressure. And then, out of nowhere, one blam! Bambi legs. Instantly. Didn't went into the dual exchange. And it wasn't for that one hit where Ippo, everything just came together. All the dots connected perfectly. Shimabukuro would have beat Ippo. Ippo had a blown gas tank. Ippo was tired. Ippo was pretty much on his last legs. And going into that Dempsey roll, if he would have never took that straight right straight to his jaw, sent him on Bambi legs, you can make a decent argument he would have went on and won that fight. But since he didn't take Ippo's 1-2 seriously, or see it as a potential setup or easy threat, he got put out there. Another case example is Mishiba versus Ippo. Oh, I'm just going to use my elbow and I'm going to break the little punk's hand. How well did that work out for you? So in your attempt to break Ippo's right hand, you end up busting up your own left hand and mess up the tendons, buddy. Because it proceeds to fight with one hand, which led you to ultimately losing the fight against Ippo. You played yourself. Another case, one of the greatest moments of the Ippo versus Gonzalez fight is when Gonzalez was just throwing at the jab, and Ippo was getting like hit here and there, but he was still, getting on deep. Then Gonzalez would throw out a double jab, and Ippo was still going for it. He's still throwing punches and trying to go for the liver blow, still trying to go for the jab. And then out of nowhere, jab, blam, right hand. Ippo got sent to Davy Jones' locker, and he's kissing the mat. And that's all it takes. Ippo stretched out stiff, struggling to get up, was able to get up at round 8. That's all it takes. All you gotta do is get lured into a false sense of security, get lured into a false sense of, oh, I got him, I'm doing alright. Then 1-2, blam, Bambi legs. You're done. It's over. That's all it takes. And ironically, Sawamura had the same thing. Ippo was doing quite well against Sawamura, even though Sawamura is great. Now, there's 2 different phases of Sawamura, and which it's kind of reflective of Ricardo Martinez. Sawamura was throwing out his jab, the bullet back to back, like I told you. Ricardo and Sawamura's jab on principle is similar. How it's thrown from the shoulder. Only difference is Ricardo retracted his all the way back, and Sawamura just keep it close to the person's face. So that way you can use it as a powering jab to blind his opponent, or just to throw out another jab in rapid succession, right? So in this case, right, Sawamura was pretty much hinting on the anti-Dempsey roll strategy. The same thing with Shimabukuro, right? Without that, right, it sure is Ippo's strongest weapon, but it's not Ippo's primary thing. It's really not. Without the Dempsey roll, Ippo is a pretty good fighter. It's just the fact that the Dempsey roll is how he finishes opponents. It's not how he fight the whole fight. So that's why, in my opinion, he didn't overly rely on it. But in this case, after he discovered the anti-Dempsey roll, was able to catch Ippo on Bambi legs, he's throwing out his mouth guard. Is Ippo going to lose the fight? He's getting torn up and lit up. He was never accounting for the possibility that Ippo had developed the anti-Dempsey roll. So what if you go step back and go for a counter and Ippo stops? Blam! What if I stop twice? What if Ippo stops, holds, and you misfired, and you still get hit again, and goes into Dempsey roll? Now, some might say this could happen to anybody. Anybody can be lured into a false sense of security or get blown or get fooled by a feint. Yes, of course, this can happen to anybody. This can go down with anybody, right? But the thing is, like Ippo learned against Death God Gonzalez, you can make a decent argument if he was never rocked like that and got picked apart after you tried to use a Dempsey roll. Because even then, Ippo had no Dempsey roll. Ippo was like, whoa, what am I going to do now? And the coach is like, just fight him. And it's really reiterated throughout the series that you just can't have one primary method. You just can't have just one solid strategy to win. Even with Miyata, with the counters, he has no uppercuts. He has like some right and left hooks, but most of his punches are straight or curved. There's nothing coming up or down. Nothing. There's no like real like vertical type punches he got. There's none. He don't have a knuckle drop, but he does have a counter. So when he was getting countered by Ernie Gregory, full body counter. When he was getting who else? He was going against somebody else. Same thing with Jimmy Fister. When his counter wasn't doing anything, he had the walls. And the same thing with Randy Boy Jr. Applying that pressure to him, tearing him up, he had to evolve once again. So what is this? Like the full body counter, then there's a further like counter that he used against Ernie, then there's like another counter after that. So that's why I say Mishima is one of the most complete fighters. Because any type of shortcoming on avenues, he doesn't just rely on the flicker. There's multiple avenues. There's ultimate different ways he can attack you from. There's multiple different ways Mishima could pick you apart. It's not just, well, you remember back in the early days where, Mishima got the flickers and the chopping right. And he just kept evolving. He kept getting stronger. He kept evolving his technique. It stopped hemorrhaging just on the flickers alone. And he started to further develop his style. Miyata has done that even though he still don't have any uppercuts, but against Randy Boy Jr. it wasn't necessary. He was able to overcome his shortcomings with no uppercuts with his own step way, right? Sendo, the biggest clutching argument I've had for years is that, well, Sendo, just it's the type of opposition he's going against. The reason why he can't use the forearm block or the forearm guard or the cross arm block or the step in. And then I was able to recall he was doing a decent job jabbing with Death God Gonzalez. And Death God Gonzalez got a similar jab to Ricardo Martinez. So you would expect that, if he can jab with Death God Gonzalez, he can somewhat jab. Now, I'm not expecting Cena to do something that he's not able to do. I'm not expecting Cena to go outside his possibilities and become an outboxer or to do something that's outside of something he will be able to do as a boxer. Or what he's trained for. I'm not expecting that. But I am expecting that, you just can't rely on hoping to connect. Now, if you have a plan to set up to connect, that's one thing. But just hoping and relying to connect is not a good enough strategy to win. Because when you lose that primary weapon, whether he breaks his ribs again, whether he breaks his hand again, or whatever happens, whether he get a cut over his eye and he can't see, if one of your weapons are down, you gotta fall back to something else. You got to. And Ippo is still fighting Misha, but with his hand broken. It's never just one thing. If Ippo can't Dempsey roll you, he will brawl you in close range. If he can't brawl you in close range, he will do something. It's not just, just go in there, just do anything. Whether he's jabbing a mess out of you, whether he's going for the volley blow, whether he's using a gazelle punch, there is something that he's using. Or whether it's like the anti-Dempsey, he's doing something other than just doing the same thing. It's not just, you can get the same old story, which is fascinating to watch Ippo fights, because technically there's not one Ippo fight that really truly feels similar. There's always an extra element. There's always an extra gimmick. There's always something that Ippo has to overcome to win. Whether it's changing in style or doing things different, or even going southpaw at one moment against Oda. He develops, he changes, and he does what he can. And it's not just, we'll just keep doing the same thing over and over again. In this case with Sendo, this is going to be a make or break fight for the character, more or less. If Sendo, and that's why I still give this fight some leeway, because I had the same opinions about the Wally fight, because the Wally fight also started off slow. So it just, not every fight's going to be like a Spitfire fight, like, we just get straight to the action. That's why I still give this fight some leeway. But this fight is a make or break for Sendo. Because I still believe, if this version was Sendo, was to fight an Ippo after tune-up fights, and Ippo has the new Dempsey. If Ippo had the full diagonal Dempsey, Ippo's picking Sendo to pieces. There's nothing. He can't predict the Gazelle Punch. He can't predict the Dempsey roll. He can't predict the liver blow because the angles Ippo's throwing at, the different dimensions he's moving, the lateral movement. What Sendo's gonna do against that? What is he gonna do? Ippo hit just as hard as he does, and got similar endurance. So even right now. So that's why I'm so adamant about, well, you know, we got to see something more here. Because it's just, if Ippo was to come back, and then with the fight, I still believe with the new Dempsey, Sendo gets packed up. Even with all this developments, even though that's the thing, I'm not a delusional Sendo fan. I love Sendo, but I'm not to the point where, you know, I'll just say anything because it makes me feel good. I'm fully aware, in my opinion, that Ippo, if he was to come back right now, with the new Dempsey and he use it properly, he's going to obliterate Sendo from everything that we've seen from him recently. From everything. So, I don't know, the fight's still early. Anything can happen. But that fully explains my concern with the whole why I don't like Sendo just taking these light jabs. Because we've seen what happened with Shimabukuro. We've seen what happened to these other fighters who just sit there and just, well, you know, it's not going to be so bad. It's not going to be so-and-so. And next thing you know, you're stressed out, hurt, and wounded. How'd that happen? How? Same way how if a guy could underestimate Amai, and Amai was just laying that pressure into him. KO'd him and everything. Stretched him out stiff. It was incredible. Amai, out of pure force of will, this shit ain't going to the scorecards. I'm ending this shit now. Oh, that made Amai legendary. He slayed the time god Kronos. Incredible. So, I don't know, but that's pretty much the Sawamura equation, not Sawamura, the Shimabukuro equation. Where it's just like, well, you know, I'm gonna win. I got him on the ropes. I'm tenderizing him. I'm doing this. Yeah, yes, it looks all good for now. It's not like you're closing out the show. It's not like the fight's over. Or as Sendo say, he's still got light in his eyes. It's not over until he's across the pavement and it's over. Because Wally thought the same thing when he split open out. When he was applying pressure to Ricardo Martinez, or he's getting them. And like always, the person kicks it up to another gear, or slightly change their tactics to get obliterated. So, I still believe in Sendo. The fight's still early, but it's just some early concerns where it's just like, George could be saving it for a few chapters down the line, make the Ricardo gets the upper hand, and Sendo start to pull out with his bag of tricks. By that point, the only concern I'd be having is how much damage he's taking. So just, we'll only know when the fight's over. Not in the middle of the fight, not in the end of the fight. Well, this is a great chapter. We'll only know when the fight is truly over. But in my opinion, for Sendo as a character, it is a make or break fight. Not whether he loses or not, but it's just, if he just smash, or do that shit Vorg did against Mike Elliott, where it's just white fang. I'm like, come on, man. You go against Ippo right now, or even Miyata, you're getting your ass obliterated. Well, it's not the same Miyata where he was going against Randy Boy Jr. and you're beat down to it. You're gonna get your ass whooped, man. I'm expect more from you. Like, I love Sendo, but you know, gotta be better. There's a reason why Amai says he wanna challenge Sendo or Miyata, and I clown him. Cause that shit's funny. Cause taking Sendo, everything he's done throughout the series, he'll obliterate the man. But the Sendo now, where it's just, well, you know, your last few fights, and the fact that Sendo, and the fact that Ricardo's applying pressure to him as well, where it's just like, you kind of gotta move forward. Just, you know, even Vorp was a Sendo, faster than this, you know. But the fight still just started. Ricardo has been going through his mental spree, where the mental start to break, and you know, I'm telling you, as soon as Ricardo sees that Sendo can give him what he wants, when it's right there in front of him, the switch is going to flip. But it's been to recap, guys, thoughts and opinions about the Shimabukuro Equation. Do you believe this is like a real ordeal? Is it like a real concern, or it's just, well, you know, you're just being paranoid. Just leave him alone. Leave Cinder alone. Yeah. But we got some Ricardo fan out there. What he gonna lose? He gonna lose. Just watch. That ain't gonna happen, buddy. His name is Takeshi Sendo, the Mexican killer tiger from Naniwa, the man from Osaka. I still believe Sendo can do it. I still can believe, but we gotta see it. We gotta see. Gotta see. Because at the end of the day, the only person who knows is probably George. We thought to fight it all the way through, and I can't wait to see it. Been up to WK now. Peace.
Wenn ich mit dem kleinen Furz da fertig bin, falte ich dich zusammen. Du elender Feigling! Er war doch noch fast ein Kind.